What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with part 2 of our new collaboration series featuring TopherSmurf. Today, we're going to be bringing you a video on how to talk about the gear for KINA, your summoner here, and how you want to go about building it optimally. TopherSmurf is back at it again. What's going on, boss? How we doing?
I'm doing well, man. Glad to be back.
Yeah, glad to be back. It hasn't even been, 24 hours? We still got the same clothes on, feeling really good, crispy,
That's
whatnot.
right. It's
These guys are
crazy.
like, wow, these guys just don't even change, don't take showers
Nope.
and just go with the flow here. But yeah, guys, in today's video, we're going to be getting right into the mix here, talking about the weapons and sub-weapons, and of course, the accessories for specific KINA here. We're going to get into all the things you should be focusing on when building her, whether it's PvE or PvP. And we're going to talk about mid to late to early game, where you should be focusing on if depending on which stage you're at. So again, if you guys are liking this content and want to go ahead and support the channel, you all know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, hit the notification bell, not just on my channel, but on TopherSmurf's channel, so you guys know when our next video drops here. Now, before we get into this, one of the things, TopherSmurf, you wanted to talk about is some of the concepts that we addressed in the previous video for those of them that did not see the Orbe. Do you want to kind of talk about that briefly, and then we'll just jump right into these particular gear?
Sure. Just real briefly, there's a couple different things with the weapons. You know, they give bonuses. Those 6-star weapons, they give bonuses to different things, and it's real important that people know that those bonuses are mostly to that skills section of your summoner. So you've got over on the left side of your skills, you've got these, the ones that you press that do all the damage, right? Those are your active skills. You've got your ultimate over there on the left hand side, which is something separate, and you've got your basic attack as well, which is just that big middle one. That's your basic attack, right? So those are all different bonuses that you could get from different weapons. You also have your element attributes at the top. That's another set of bonuses you could get from another set of weapons, right? So just kind of knowing what those things are and what bonuses we're getting, right? So that'll be good for our later talk.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So getting back into it, KINA weapons, taking a look at the 5 different dungeons that are currently available, similar to the weapons that obviously that were there for Orbia here. Foggy's going to be a tribute plus skill. White Castle is going to be summoner skills plus 2. Naraka is going to be ultimate skill plus 2. Seal, of course, bringing in that monster attack. And then last but not least, the basic attack skill on 2. Now, of course, in the previous video talking about Orbia, we focused on having the seal weapon with regards to the monster attack. That was a benefit there. Of course, for White Castle, and Naraka for PvP, you can make the argument to go for the White Castle and Naraka weapon there. But when it comes to KINA, what is your take on PvE focus and what people should be utilizing early on and why?
Sure thing. Yeah. So PvP weapon. I'm going to say the White Castle weapon. The White Castle weapon gives you summoner skill plus 2. So those are those big ones, right? Your skill 1, your skill 2, and your skill 3. Especially as a KINA, as a support player, you are supporting your monsters, and all of those active skills provide some extremely important support buffs and healing and other things like that. So most of you will be playing, 5, 6, 7 months or so, and we might not quite have those active skills maxed out, right? So those active skills, they go up to plus 10, right? They go up to level 10. It takes quite a while to get to that 10. So one thing to note is when, let's say White Castle says summoner skill plus 2, can't go over 10, right? So it's not going to go to 12. So it'll only go from 8 to 10, right? That's your bonus you get out of the White Castle weapon. So early, mid, and even into some late game, most of us are not going to have these skills maxed out. So you are going to get a pretty big benefit out of that White Castle weapon because these skills are so incredibly important to your summoner and what you do on the battlefield.
Gotcha. Okay, and when it comes to the sub weapons there, a very, I mean, obviously, basically similar to how is the breakdown here for regards to Orbia. Foggy's going to be the damage mitigation. The attribute damage taken is going to be for White Castle. Naraka is going to be elemental attribute skill plus 1 to 2. We got the monster HP bonus from 13, to 1300 for seal, and of course the PvP bonus there for monster damage dealt. So obviously, given the fact that this one is a healer, a supporter more so than the others here, what's your take on this one? Do you still do what most people would do, focus on the damage reduction here, or do you focus on something else, and why?
I'm going to say, and I've gotten some really good tips from other top KINA mains, some in my guild and some beyond that. I'm much better at KINA than I am. KINA is my weakest by far. So most of them are going to say the damage taken reduction. That's going to be a big one. KINA is while she is a tanking unit, gets focused pretty hard sometimes, and you want to make sure that she's on the battlefield alive, as long as possible to provide all of those buffs that she's giving out. So the summoner damage taken down 4.5. That's your foggy sub weapon, your foggy trinket, I believe is what it's called, that KINA gets. That would be most people would say that's probably the best one for KINA.
Okay, sounds good. And then of course, the end all be all topic of the day, the accessories, the thing that everyone should be focusing on.
Yep.
What's your take on these specific accessories? Again, similar to the was with the Orbia. And what would you focus on as a KINA user?
Sure. Yeah. So accessories are super important, guys. Probably way more important than your weapons and even your sub weapons a little bit. Accessories are on you at all times, meaning that you're getting the benefit of these accessories no matter what weapon you've switched to, right? So you're getting all the stats all the time. Whereas when you're using a weapon, you get 100% of the benefit of your, let's say, fire staff, but you're only getting 25% of the benefit of the other weapons, right? So you're not even getting the full benefit of all those weapons that you've been building up. So my suggestion to you guys is focus on upgrading your accessories, so you can get damage out of there, you can get tankiness out of there, you can get all your stats out of your accessories by leveling those up. So to your question though, KINA is tanky. She wants to be tanky and she wants to be on the battlefield as long as possible. So you can kind of go either way. You can either go foggy or you can either go the White Castle set. Now remember, you got to have all four pieces, right? You got to have the what is it? The earring, the necklace, the bracelet, and the ring. You have to have all four pieces in order to actually make that bonus happen. So the foggy gives you a defense plus of 250, and the White Castle one gives you a 3,400 to your summoner's HP. So you can't really go wrong with either the foggy or the White Castle gear. Both of those are going to highly benefit KINA a lot. And just to reiterate, you do only get these bonuses when you get to the end of those trees, right? So it's not like that first foggy gear that you get dropped. It's a nice, shiny, legendary 5-star. That's not going to do you much, right? We're looking at down the road as we're using our blacksmithing, going down the tree. We'll eventually get to those 6-star weapons, which is where we start to get, those 6-star gear, 6-star accessories. That's where we start getting some of those bonuses. And that's kind of where we want to have our sights, fixated on.
Okay. And then when it comes to these accessories here, as a KINA user, obviously there's a wide variety of different subsets that we should be focusing on. Which ones would you recommend for the people? And do you feel like they change a lot moving in from like early to mid to late game?
They really don't. In my opinion, KINA is one of the simpler ones to build. You just need to get as much of those tanky substats as possible. HP percent, defense percent, and then you can either go with that last accessory. You can either go defense percent or HP percent. It's you can kind of go both ways. Some of my KINA mains that I've talked to have suggested double defense percent, right? So that was their personal opinion. And then of course, on all your substats, you want HP percent, defense percent, and then of course evasion and resistance. So evasion helps you to not get hit by those basic attacks from monsters and summoners, and then resistance helps you to not get those bad debuffs from skills, either from summoners or from monsters.
Right. I was going to say, and funny enough, I don't know if any of your guys is people that you spoke with regards to like main KINAs that have been in game here. One of the things that I noticed about is that while KINA is utilized as a support, depending on how your subsets roll out, you might be surprised as to how the stats roll out and how it gets built. Like I've seen damage build KINAs out there do work, and it's because of the fact that they got all their bases covered when it comes to not just having the certain substats, whatever, but having a team built around it to keep it alive as well. While she is a healer at the end of the day, bringing in some more supports to kind of support what she does, she can essentially kind of catch people off guard and do some damage if people wanted to go that route.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, any well-built KINA is going to have those surprising attack crit stats in there, kind of just laying around ready to catch you.
Gotcha. So have you? I know that you said you're a Cleef user here. Have you played around with the KINA alt, and what's your take on it?
I've played around with KINA a little bit here and there. KINA is great. I know a lot of people that really enjoy their KINA. KINA really needs her monsters to kind of do most of the work for her as far as that damage, right? Yeah, there's a couple KINAs out there that do a little bit more damage, but on a whole, you got to have a couple DPS on your team or some DPS hybrids to really do a lot of that damage for you. And then you're supporting. You've got a lot of incredible support buffs: attack speed, attack up, right? All those kind of things.
Gotcha. And then last but not least, what I wanted to finish off with this video is just to kind of take a page from your book, is provided a little bit of insight when it comes to your streams. As for those that don't know, TopherSmurf hosts a stream on YouTube throughout the week here, and of course he gets a lot of different questions from the people in his community as well as his people with regards to his discourse. So my question to you is, I'm sure a lot of people have asked you various things when it comes to KINA and things to go about and whatnot. What are some of the common mistakes that you hear people make when it comes to KINA, or maybe some of the things that you might have noticed that they've kind of overlooked when it comes to KINA that people should consider when building her?
When building KINA, just don't I know a lot of people love to look at, attack stats. They loved all that big damage, and that's like those juicy sub stats of crit damage, crit rate that can always look nice on a lot of different summoners. But a lot of KINA is actually over on the rune side, right? Is building your monsters effectively, so that way your KINA is gonna be able to support those monsters. So really, it's just kind of focusing on a little bit too much attack, and then all of a sudden you're one-shotted in PvP. So just got to make sure that you are alive and that you are healthy and that you are, putting out a lot of those crucial buffs and occasional debuffs for your monsters to do work.
Gotcha. Very good, very good. And again, my only tip that I want to provide to the community, especially if you are a, this is like like an alt for you or whatnot here. One of the things to consider when it comes to, especially when it comes to these accessories or whatnot here, if you're focused on a specific unit and you get a pretty nice one, and maybe you got some good stats that roll out here, while you know that you're going to be investing into something else, definitely don't get rid of it. Take advantage of your store guards, throw it in there, because you can swap specific gear that might be beneficial for, an alt like KINA or an alt like Leaf or whatnot here. So to save that here. So I know that a lot of people, when they look at specific gear, like, oh my gosh, this is the absolute trash for Orbia. But ultimately, a lot of these people have listened to some of the videos that you put out, the Barcode put out, that there's numerous reasons to, focus on building, all three summoners and some of the value that you get, going through the storyline and so on and so forth. So definitely take note, guys. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out TopherSmurf's video, make sure that you are saving those resources or saving those accessories so that you can utilize them. Again, maybe they're real out for KINA, specifically, but they might be, for your Orbia main or your Cleef main, so on and so forth here. So
definitely.
Alrighty, well, I think that's going to be it for this. This one's definitely going to be a little bit shorter than the previous video. Again, we wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight on the foundation of the summoners in general and some of the things you should focus on before getting into the weapons and accessories specifically. TopherSmurf, once again, thank you so much for providing the content here for the community. Any last words you want to share with them?
No, man, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be playing the game. I love the community. I love the guild that I'm in. And so that's really one of the biggest reasons for playing this game, is the community that we've built here. So been really enjoying it.
Good deal, good deal. All right, guys. Well, once again, I'm going to leave his link in the description down below. If you guys can go ahead and check him out on YouTube, show your support, same support that you've been showing me over the last 9 years, I would greatly appreciate it, okay? That's going to be it, fam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and TopherSmurf of ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we'll see you guys in part 3 featuring Cleef and the best way to go about building them.